April 2025. The world's most ambitious city has shrunk to a small fraction of its original promise. What really happened? From a giant, sprawling 170 kilometers long marvel to just a tiny 2.4-kilometer stretch of steel and concrete. The line is barely recognizable now. This once futuristic dream inspired millions around the world. But today, it faces a serious existential crisis. Is this huge Saudi mega-project making a bold pivot? Or is it silently failing? And what does that mean for the future of cities and how we live? Picture this: a towering city sliced into small modules, half buried in the dry, windy desert dust. It's a powerful symbol of human ambition running into harsh reality. If you've been following the line from the very beginning, buckle up. The story just got a lot more complicated. In the next few minutes, you'll uncover the untold truth behind the headlines, the secret that could make or break this whole project. In 2021, Saudi Arabia launched a bold idea, a 170-kilometer-long city called The Line. A city with no cars, running fully on renewable energy, stacked vertically like a giant marvel. The world watched with awe, mixed with some doubt. This was not just a plan. It was shaping up to be a modern myth, a story of the future. The price tag? An unbelievable $8.8 trillion. That's more than 8 times Saudi Arabia's entire GDP. To put it simply, it's like trying to build a city longer than the distance between London and Paris, all connected, all electric. But right away, experts asked, is this even possible? Could a dry, empty desert really turn into a continuous, futuristic metropolis stretching hundreds of kilometers? That question created tension between hope and reality. On one side was the huge ambition to build the world's first zero-carbon city. On the other were real problems: political, financial, and environmental hurdles that could stop or slow everything down. The Line was meant to be the first city with zero carbon emissions. But the big question remained: can it also be zero compromise? So, what's the real story on the ground in 2025? The original giant plan has been cut down, way down. Now, instead of a long city stretching 170 kilometers, we only have a tiny 2.4-kilometer piece. This is the mini line, a baby step, not the giant leap many expected. This mini line is split into 3 modules: 45, 46, and 47. Right now, Module 45 is at the concrete stage, the first real signs of building. Module 46 has plans for a hidden marina and a futuristic stadium. But those are still promises for the future, not part of what you can see today. Module 47? Still digging, still very early. At first, people were full of awe and hope. But as the mini-line slowly took shape, many felt frustration and confusion. Why was it moving so slowly? And why was such a tiny part costing a jaw-dropping $370 billion? That's just a small fraction of the full dream's cost, but it's still an enormous amount. It's like watching a big blockbuster movie get trimmed down into a short, quiet indie film. The excitement is there, but the scale and drama feel smaller. This raises a big question. Is the mini-line just a proof of concept? A small test to show the idea works? Or is it a scaled-down consolation prize? What we get when the dream meets hard reality. The dream clashes with reality every step of the way. And every tiny square meter built comes with a crushing cost. So, why is building even this small part so technically brutal and expensive? To build the line, engineers face a huge challenge. They must place over 16,000 foundation piles deep into the ground. To give you an idea, That's way more than the 192 piles used for the tallest building in the world, the Burj Khalifa. This is the largest piling project ever attempted on Earth. But it's not just about piling. They have to build complex artificial waterways and deep dewatering systems to fight against desert groundwater and shifting sands. Imagine trying to build a giant skyscraper on quicksand. One wrong move, and everything could collapse. That's exactly the kind of risk engineers face here. It's amazing to see such human ingenuity at work, but at the same time, there is growing anxiety about the rising costs and constant delays. They use the most advanced technology to try and tame this harsh desert environment, but technology can only do so much. This raises a serious question. Is this technology saving the dream, or is it just hiding a much bigger problem underneath? The real battle is between man and environment, between ambition and the harsh desert geology. You can see some progress with the piles going in and some structures rising. But the work is moving slowly. So, what's really happening beyond the construction site? What challenges are still waiting to be solved? Around the line, something important is happening too. There are worker camps rising, where thousands of people live while they build the city. Nearby, wind farms are being set up to power the project with clean energy. And then there's Oxagon, a huge new port city planned as part of the NEOM vision. These are the vital infrastructure pieces that make the whole project work. The city itself is just one part. The surrounding area, these puzzle pieces, matter just as much. For many, these developments bring a small spark of hope. They show that progress is happening, even if it's far from the grand dream of a continuous city. But at the same time, this progress feels detached from the main vision. It's like planting seeds in a barren land and hoping they will grow into a forest. The government says the city will grow module by module, one small section at a time. But this slow pace worries experts. They warn that taking so long risks losing the interest of the world and the momentum needed to keep going. That raises the question, can all this peripheral progress really keep the core dream alive? There is a clear conflict here. On one side, there is incremental progress, small steps forward. On the other side, there is the urgency of global expectations and the race against time. The clock is ticking, and patience is running thin. And with all this progress moving slowly and the costs still climbing, can Saudi Arabia keep pouring money into this project? Will the funding last? The price tag for the line is huge. We're talking about $8.8 trillion. Yes, trillion with a T. That's more than 8 times the total money Saudi Arabia makes in a year. This is a gamble almost no country could afford. It's like betting your entire economic future on one project. The mini-line phase alone already costs $370 billion, a number so big it's hard to imagine. All this money demands one thing: results. But the costs keep growing. The project faces constant delays and cost overruns that could spiral out of control. This creates a lot of pressure: political pressure, financial pressure, and public pressure. People want to see progress. They want to see that their money is not wasted. So, what happens if the money runs out? Or if the country decides to change priorities? This is a huge risk hanging over the entire project. On one side, there is huge ambition to build a city like no other. On the other side, there is the harsh reality of money and budgets. Can these two forces stay balanced? Can the dream survive the financial squeeze? But money isn't everything. There's another big question to ask: who is going to live in this city? For the line to grow, It needs people. Not just a few, but at least 300,000 residents to make the city worth expanding. That's a big number, almost like a small city. But attracting so many people to live in a brand new, raw desert megacity is a huge challenge. No one has ever tried this on such a scale before. Without enough people, all the roads, buildings, and technology become meaningless. It would be like building a mansion with no family inside, just empty walls and air. Around the world, many visionary city projects have failed because they couldn't bring in enough residents. So, what will make people want to move here? It's not just about fancy buildings. People need jobs, a good quality of life, and a culture they can belong to. If those things don't come first, the city will stay empty. This is the biggest challenge, the human factor. Can Neom solve the social puzzle as well as the engineering one? The vision of a perfect city is one thing. The reality of what people want and need is another. If the city can't offer a real community, the whole dream could stall. So, what happens if people don't move in fast enough? What's the real timeline for the line? Will it take decades before it feels like home to thousands, or even millions? When the line was first announced, the goal was clear. Finish by 2030. A bold deadline for a city no one had ever built before. But now, in 2025, that deadline feels like a dream fading fast. The original 2030 deadline is effectively dead. Instead of a fast build, progress is slow and steady, moving module by module. This means the full city might not be ready for decades. No one knows exactly when. This uncertainty weighs heavily on everyone involved, from investors to people watching from afar. Frustration and doubt are growing. Delays don't just cost money, they also shake people's faith in the project. Political support can fade when promises aren't met on time. Time is tricky for the line. It can be a friend, giving builders time to get things right. But it can also be an enemy, making it harder to keep the dream alive. The longer the wait, the harder it gets to keep people believing in the future of the city. This is a battle between visionary patience and impatient reality. Can people stay patient enough for the city to grow? Or will the delays cause the dream to fade away? Something that could tip the balance for the line's future. A secret that holds the fate of the entire project. Glass and technology. But without people, it's just an empty skeleton. Expensive, impressive, but lifeless. It can't replace what really makes a city alive. The heart of any city is its people, their stories, their culture, and everyday lives. Without that, the line is just buildings standing in the desert. This is the biggest challenge if the line becomes a shining example of the future, or ends up as a futuristic ghost town. This is the ultimate test. If they don't, it will be empty shells, no matter how impressive the buildings look. So far, this is the greatest mystery behind the project. It's not about how fast the city is built, it's about whether people will choose to call the line their home. And if they do, the line is not a clear failure, but it's not a full success either. It's standing at a pivot point, a moment where everything could still go many different ways. True innovation doesn't come from just big dreams. Picture that. A city that only exists when its people give it life. That's the emotional heart of this whole project. From the original vision of a towering 170-kilometer city, stretching across the desert, the story of the line is far from over. And it will teach us a lot about dreaming big. Subscribe to this channel for honest, no-fluff updates on the world's most daring projects. Now, here's a question for you. Would you bet on the line? Do you think it will become a shining example of the future? Or is it a dream that might never fully come true? Tell me your verdict in the comments below,